Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video conversation about the specific strategy, which I'm simply calling the food first strategy. It's focused on food. It's not just about food, but it puts food first. Welcome, Jimena, Christopher, Marco. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Awesome. All right. Well, please jump in anytime.
Great.
Awesome, Jimena. Thanks. Well, jump in anytime. Let's make it a conversation. The food first strategy centers around the following thesis, right? That humanity at this moment in time is trapped in a game of hoarding for survival. We've equated hoarding with survival. And what's one of the things that's fascinating about this, having known and worked with, some of the richest people in the world, is that it's like heroin to them. And they get addicted not to the pile, but to the process of adding to the pile every day, right? They want to see their pile grow and grow. So they're addicted to growth. And it apparently there's no limit to it, to the appetite that they have for this. And so it's just this very addictive substance, money and property and ownership. And so how do we, for me, the big picture centers around how do we liberate humanity from this obsolete and omnicidal, in the sense that it kills everything, this obsolete and omnicidal game of hoard to survive. And for me, there's the single pivotal inflection point in our journey from where we are now to where we need to get to be, is when we reach a point where humanity's needs are taken care of essentially automatically, just built into how we live and how we operate. We just make sure that everyone has plenty to eat and, a warm, clean place to sleep and, medical care and transportation and access to open spaces and nature and recreation and libraries and internet and all that. I mean, it's so much more efficient to provide these things at scale. We've looked at the numbers for food. The numbers for food are mind-boggling. It's going to be mind-bogglingly efficient to deliver food to all these people. And that's going to stimulate generosity from the people receiving the food to the billionaires saying, wow, that's cool. I love the efficiency here. Let me contribute to that. Right. So, but food is, of course, just the first, and as far as I'm concerned, most important domino in the whole sequence that basically goes food, shelter, food, water, shelter, healthcare, and so on. Those are the biggies, the basics, right? With shelter include, running water, ability to bathe and clean towels and just all those good basic things that so many of us take for granted, right? So when we reach an inflection point where humanity's needs are taken care of, and basically people are loved and cared for, and we don't have to see each other as enemies in this competitive game, this zero-sum game, right? This finite game, but rather see ourselves all as sisters and brothers, all working together. And isn't it wonderful that we live in a world where everyone's needs are cared for? It's kind of a utopia. Nobody has to work in order to live. Now, of course, having said that, there's all kinds of cool projects happening here, there, and everywhere. Oh, there's SRM projects. We're finally cooling the planet. That's exciting, right? And since everyone's needs are cared for everywhere, you can hop on the electric train and go up to Alaska and be volunteering right there on the front, implementing the local SRM projects for refreezing the Arctic, right? Or if the Amazon's your thing, take the electric train down through to the Amazon and help out with planting trees and working on soil erosion issues and all kinds of stuff, right? So it becomes one big happy, volunteer-based humanity for the most part. And sure, there'll be people who will be playing around with money and hoarding and playing money games and this and that. But I'm just saying that'll become more and more antique right? Like heroin addicts in Holland, they're becoming a thing of an antique because they've been so effective in their drug policy. Heroin use among people in their 20s in Holland is essentially non-existent. Anyway, we're gonna, it'll go the way of heroin use in Holland, right? We'll make it obsolete, but let's not worry too much about that. What we're really focused on is how do we get humanity to change its mindset? And I believe the first and critical step is to feed everyone. And it's going to be so easy and so economical. I'll just show a few slides. um, and here we go. These are from a presentation I made in China this last weekend, the AODN network. Anyway, food healers. So we meet every Friday for 4 hours, as you can see there, 7 to 9 a.m. and p.m. Pacific time. And the basic idea is about providing a super nutritious stew where the preparation of the food and everything is optimized to the point that most of the produce won't be pre-cooked at all. It'll just be dumped in raw, cleaned and chopped and put in raw cold. So we just preserve the nutrition to the max. We cook the things that need to be cooked and then we cool those before we mix them with the produce. And then it gets delivered cold stew that you then reheat so that we preserve it and preserve nutrition. How do we do it? We buy potatoes by the mountain, by the truckload, lentils by the rail car load, right? And where the food is so inexpensive to buy it at the source, 6.5 cents a pound in the case of lentils, right? When you buy it at the source. And so the food is essentially free. You've heard about these potato farmers where they're just like, just take away the potatoes for free. The supply chains have been disrupted. So food is essentially free. And we transport it to these facilities that will be adapting from food processing, industrial kitchens, et cetera, to mass produce the stew. And we'll deliver it cold using similar technology to milk trucks, except we're really going full space age with Tesla trucks and the space age trailer. So it'll just look super cool. It'll look like food from the future. It's really food for the future. And this is the start of this inflection point that it's like, wow, the future is here. Humanity is taken care of automatically by default, right? And, that's the key inflection point for humanity. Okay. So I can let go of that nightmare that I had to struggle to survive. Yeah, that was just a bad dream. It was like a 12,000 year nightmare we went through. Good thing we're finally getting out of it. And it'll be a transition. People are traumatized, right? But at least we'll have a critical mass of thawing out from this old, obsolete, omnicidal game and a liberation towards, okay, what really matters? Thank God I don't have to play that game anymore. Okay, what's happening now? Oh, SRM? Yeah, let me learn. Oh, wow. Oh, you need my help? I can help. Oh, great. Let me help. And just all these people will be jumping in and we'll finally be able to take on stuff like SRM, which heretofore has eluded us as a species. The number one most critical thing we can do to save life on Earth, solar radiation management, most people don't even know it exists. They don't even know of it as a concept. So that's why I put food first. With food, we begin the liberation of the mind and heart and spirit from this existential game of survival, right? Survival by hoarding to a whole new game of cooperation and caretaker species and fun and love and romance and joy, because you're no longer trapped in some stupid all-day Monopoly game. that you end up just brain damaged from, right? So that's why I put food first. Food is the quintessential vital human need that's arguably the most challenging, uh, well, just the most critical. I mean, you talk about need for healthcare. The healthiest thing you can do is eat well, right? So it's vital for that. You know, shelter is the kind of thing you erect once and hopefully it lasts for a while, but food is something you need to source every single day. So it's kind of harder than shelter, right? And in all the seasons of the year. So it's the quintessential thing, right? Food and water, right? Um, we start with that, but we don't stop with that. But that starts the dominoes tumbling. And even when we're halfway through the domino tumble of all human needs, people still, whoa, I get it now, right? People's minds will be shifting, even though there's still work to be done in those arenas, right? And it's as those minds shift and people become liberated that I think we can truly take on stuff like an exponentially overheating planet, which we've been collectively blind to. Yes, individuals see it, but we don't even have the language or the culture to take it on because we're trapped in the old game that prevents us from seeing clearly what the hell is going on and what we need to do. So the food first strategy contemplates this quintessential pivot point, turning point, when we first put on our own oxygen mask as a species. Okay. Okay, now my darling mother, I can take care of you now. But I first had to put on my own oxygen mask, not because I'm more important than mother, but because I'm not going to be much good to mother if I'm gasping for survival. Yes, give me that job. Give me the, yes, I'll work the overtime. Yes, I won't complain. Yes, I won't call in sick. Yes, I'll put on a fake smile, a fake Joker smile and pretend I'm happy, right? To survive. And in the process, we suppress. Right? We're taught that we need to pick a career from the age of 3 practically. What are you going to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? Like you're nothing now. You have to be something by having a career. I mean, it's been branded into us from every direction, right? We look like nothing but branding iron of the dollar sign, right? So we've got a lot of undoing to do. But the first step is feed everyone and begin to change the mindset that we're already whole and perfect. And so is Mother Earth. And therefore, we've got some major changes to make. So the dominoes fall, and then we're able to really look up and take on cooling the planet and other essential planetary scale stuff, refreezing the Arctic, right? Saving the coral reefs by doing concentrated deployment of mirror reflection mirrors directly above the coral reefs, et cetera. Restoration projects for the Amazon, just, massive relocation, redeployment of people who used to be slashing and burning the Amazon. Let's give them great incentives to come and follow us elsewhere. Free food, free shelter, free this, free that. Dude, and show them the truth, show them the impacts of what they're doing and that it's no longer necessary because there's no longer demand for soybeans in China to feed animals anymore. People, yes, animals, no. Right? It's going to be a transition. But, one of the beautiful things about food first is that along the way, to achieving our goals of feeding everyone. We teach the world about plant-based eating, 100% plant-based. And we teach the world about why that's important, right? And so it's actually going to be, I mean, we're going to help the world go plant-based. It's going to be incredible. Will there be exceptions? Yes, there will be exceptions. But the world will go plant-based, and therefore there will be this renewed sense of compassion, not just towards our brother and sister humans, but our brother and sister species, because we're no longer killing them and eating them and creating COVID and whatnot.
You talked at one point about the dominoes and, the food, and one of them dominoes was health and health care. And if we do food right, that domino of healthcare won't be so big. If we have healthy food, safe food, free of pesticides and chemicals and genetic tampering, that we have no clear idea of, no long-term idea of the result from that. So that domino will be less of a challenge if we're all eating healthy food.
Totally. And once we nail food, shelter is going to be sorted out so fast. It's not like we don't have enough built out structure in the world, right? There's plenty of roof, plenty of techo, as we say in Mexico, right? Plenty of shelter. It, like food, has been maldistributed. It's that simple. We're finally distributing food properly by giving it to everyone. It's like that simple, right? It's basically food on tap for everyone. It'll be shelter on tap for everyone, healthcare on tap. We'll sort it out. We'll sort it out because the whole paradigm is going to be switching.
And the shelter has a health a parallel to the food too.
We've
built a lot of unhealthy structures when there's natural ways available that are, healthy to breathe. It's healthy to breathe in your habitat, where many right now are not even healthy to breathe in. So
yeah, it's going to be a revolution in health, right? So anyway, and then from there, we'll finally be able to we'll finally get our heads screwed on straight and our hearts screwed on straight. That we're not about being, when I grow up, a profession so I can make lots of money and attract good mate. Ugh. So anyway, I couldn't be more excited about this strategy. Food first. Let's put on our own oxygen mask, and then we can finally take on cooling the planet. It's kind of that simple. Anyway, with that as an introduction, I'm going to have to bid you all good night. Any final comments? And thank you all so much for being here, participating. Much love. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.